training. So today we got a brand new format that we're going to try. If you're on Spotify, I definitely recommend to pull up your screen. If you're on Apple, I would suggest today you switch over to YouTube to watch today's training. What we're going to go over here, guys, I'm going to teach you the one thing that if we can just 100% grasp this, and if we can 100% trust in this process of change, then we will be able to stick with our goals throughout the easy times, throughout the hard times, throughout the ups and downs. If we can fully grasp this concept, this idea, we can make some amazing transformations in our lives. I believe that one of the things that hold people back most from their goals and their desires is that consistency, is that future foresight, knowing if you're on the right path or off the right path, right? Because if you know that you're 100% aligned with your goal, and your goal is worth it, it's going to be worth so much to you, you will stay on that path until you hit the goal, right? So the question is, why do we not stay on our paths? Us as people, we have these crazy desires to accomplish these goals, these health goals, these fit goals, these dreams, whatever it may be. And yet we always fall off track, or we go back to the same comfort zone that we're trying to escape from. Why is that? Right? Why is that? Well, I believe if we 100% knew that we were 100% aligned with the goal and it was going to happen, as long as we just kept showing up, we would all get there. So today, I want to give you that future foresight on what you can expect. So I'm going to share with you what we would call the learning curve, thanks to Myron Goodwin for this one. And I'm also going to show you a little bit about the emotional cycle of change, which psychologists have created to help humans, help people understand how change actually works, like what to really expect. Because going into anything, expectations can either kill your journey from the start or it can really set you up for major success. What I mean by that is, let's say you set a goal for 10 pounds in 1 month and you only lose 5 pounds. 5 pounds is beyond amazing. 5 pounds is incredible, especially if you do it right, because you'll never gain the weight back. But if we don't have the right perspective, right, if we don't have the right expectations, we'll feel like a failure. And that's never fun. So let's dive into it, guys, here. So what we're going to talk about today is, and excuse my writing, okay? I'm not a writer. Let's just say that. I'm a coach. I'm here to guide and help. I'm not a writer, but I'm going to do my best here for you today. So what we're going to talk about here today is the learning curve. So call this the learning curve. This is something every single person must go through on their journey if they truly want to transform themselves. You can't skip the steps. What diets try to do, let's say this is number 1, so this is the start. Diets try to give you a quick shortcut to the end. But the problem is that we don't build up the capacity to handle the end. We don't build up the habits, the identity, the character that we need to become to accomplish the goal that we truly want. So let's say this is the end. Okay? This is the place that every single person should be trying to get to. This is where you want to get to in your journey. Okay? And how this learning curve goes is basically every single person must start out at the start. Let's say you have a weight loss goal. Okay, you have a goal to transform your health. You want to build your confidence. You want to feel better about yourself. This is the starting point that every single person must start at. Okay, and this is going to be what we call the hero's journey, right? So this is going to be your journey. Now, here's the part that most of us don't understand, is that the start, this section here, okay, so this section here, this is number 1. This is where you're always excited, you're motivated, you don't really, you're only thinking about the goal, the vision, how good it's going to feel when you get there, right? So this is the initial motivation that gets you started. So this is like the fire, we could say, all right? This is the fire that gets you started and gets you going. Now, then this is the hardest part, okay? The next part on this journey is what we would call the valley of despair. So this section here, this is what we call the valley. Okay, valley of despair. The valley of despair is where 90% of people give up when it comes to change. It's where 90% of people give up when it comes to change. The reason why is because this is where the initial motivation starts to run out and where you start coming out with challenges. So this is where maybe a plateau, no motivation, right? Maybe we a bad weekend. Okay, so this is where we're going through plateaus, we're lower motivation, right? We had a bad weekend, things are happening, we're getting bored of our food. All this stuff is happening. What we call this is resistance. Okay, this is resistance that's keeping you from the change that you actually want. What happens to a lot of people is that they start out good. They have a great goal, they have a very clear, defined goal of what they want, they have the initial drive and the motivation. But most people, they get caught up in this slump here. They forget why they started. They forget the importance behind their goal. They forget why it's actually so important, how heavy it truly weighs to them. And their focus and their energy starts shifting onto all the negatives. Why do I have to do this? I don't have motivation. I don't want to. I don't feel like this. We rely on our feelings. We do all these things. We focus and put our energy into what we're trying to drown out. And we start feeding that negativity. We start feeding that fear and that doubt. And to understand how the human brain works, what this actually is happening in this section here, so what's actually going on here is this is your brain. This is safety. This is your brain saying this is not safe. Okay, this is your brain saying, hey, warning, warning, this is not safe. This is outside of the comfort zone. We want to go back to safety. Because the way your brain's designed is that your brain wants to keep you alive. It wants to keep you alive, safe, and secure. That means that if you have to have diabetes and you're extremely insecure and have no confidence, you're going to stay stuck in this prison, it doesn't care about that. It just wants you safe and secure. Even if that means we're doing actions that are eventually going to kill us in the future, it doesn't care about that. The brain only wants you safe and secure. So what safety is to the brain is what is common, what is habitual, right? What is my normal ways of being? And this is where typically people will start to go back to their old habits and their old ways. And this is why 90% of people always give up, always end up gaining the weight back over and over and over again, because they cannot get through this valley of despair. They cannot get through this learning curve because they often will blame themselves and say, I'm not good enough. I'm just not cut out to be fit. I can't get through this. Why is it always so hard for me? It's hard for everybody at first, right? Just like learning anything, learning how to ride a bike. At first, you're going to suck. You're not going to be the best, but you don't want it to be. Because when you finally get there, when you learn how to ride a bike, when you graduate school, you earned it. It was all earned. You had to develop the character. You had to develop the habits, the actions, the way of being to actually learn how to ride the bike, right? To become that doctor, to become that nurse. You had to learn to get there. What a lot of people want to do in their weight loss is they want to go take the exam on the very first day and then pass it. But that will never happen because you didn't learn the skills, the habits, the ways of being to actually be that nurse, to actually ride that bike, right? You create, so if you're trying to become a nurse, you create that identity through the learning curve, through learning, through building the skill set, right? The identity of becoming an actual nurse. And that's where this is. So call this right here. Oh, pen turned off. 1 second here. So call this section here graduation. This is graduation. If you can make it past this piece here, that's graduation. That's where you've built up you built the character. You built the person you need to become to be able to handle how to move forward, to be able to handle this new being, this new body, health, fitness mindset that you just created in the learning curve. The learning curve, honestly, in this section here, if you really struggle with your weight, it might not even be good to look at the scale, because in this section here, this is all about building the character, the identity, the person. Oh, I don't know what should happen there, but you guys get what I'm putting out. Okay, this is where you build the identity, the character, okay, the skills to be able to lose the weight effortlessly. Because once you get to this place here, once you can push past and you get past the learning curve, you've done the hard part. It's all easy from there on out. It's all downhill. It's all so easy. It's just a slide. You're just going with the flow because who you are and what you do. This is why I share with my social media for the past months. I lost 40 pounds effortlessly. Barely made any changes. I still ate pizza almost every single weekend, ice cream. And I've melted all this fat off my body, built the six pack, and it was effortless. But it was because I spent 8 to 9 years beforehand going through this learning curve. I've done the work before, so now it comes easy. Same thing with the clients. Same thing with you if you're willing to go through learning curve. And once you get there, you will build the exact person that you've always wanted to be, and it will be so worth it. It will be so worth it. I promise you, it will be worth everything. How good you will feel, not worrying about your health, the confidence that you will adopt to be able to go chase after anything that you want. If that's a partner, a dream, a lifestyle, anything, it will help you realize that. I can promise you that. But you got to be willing to go through the learning curve. And today, guys, that is the training. What I'm going to do is I'll wait for the emotional cycle of change. We'll dive into that on another training. But this is the training for today on exactly how the learning curve works when it comes to weight loss, transforming yourself, and creating the version of you that you've always wanted to have. If you can understand this and grasp this, I promise you this will change everything for you when it comes to your personal health, your fit journey, and getting to where you truly, truly want to be at. Now, guys, if you have any questions or if you have anything else that you may like to go over, you can always shoot me a message on Instagram. Okay. And make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment if you did learn something new from this. But my Instagram is at coach.hayward. And I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the next training. Keep moving forward.